The joke that turned into a war. The moment Katt Williams opened his mouth, Steve Harvey's entire polished image started shaking in public. What first sounded like another comedy room jab suddenly turned into something much darker, because Katt was not just joking about Steve's career anymore. He was hinting at the one place Steve clearly did not want touched: his marriage, his family image, and the secrets people have whispered about for years. For a long time, fans thought this was just another celebrity feud, the kind that trends for a few days and disappears. But this one did not fade. It got louder. Katt made comments that seemed aimed directly at Steve's wife, Marjorie Harvey, and the internet immediately started digging through old interviews, old rumors, old relationships, and old accusations that had been buried under the Harvey brand. Steve tried to act like he was above the noise. He said he did not use his platform to tear people down, but when he finally responded, the calm image disappeared fast. His voice was tense, his words were sharp, and fans noticed something important. Steve did not sound like a man casually brushing off a comedian. He sounded like a man who felt personally exposed. Then the story got even stranger. Some people close to the situation started claiming that Steve may not be the only one pushing back. According to rumors, Marjorie herself was allegedly furious that Katt had dragged her name into the spotlight. And once her name entered the conversation, everything changed. Because now people were no longer asking, "Why is Katt attacking Steve?" They were asking, "What did Katt say that made the Harvey family react this hard?" And that is where this story gets dangerous. Because once the public starts questioning an image that took decades to build, one viral interview can become more powerful than a whole PR team. Before we go deeper, comment where you are watching from right now. If you think Katt went too far, press 1 inch the comments. If you think Steve is reacting because there may be more to the story, press 2. And make sure you subscribe, because this drama is only getting started. Steve Harvey finally snaps. For months, Steve Harvey appeared to stay quiet. He had every reason to ignore the noise. He had television history, business deals, a family-friendly reputation, and a name that was bigger than most comedians could ever dream of. But silence only works when the rumors stop growing. In Steve's case, they did not stop. They spread. Every time someone replayed Katt Williams' comments, the conversation became less about comedy and more about control. Fans started saying Katt was not simply taking shots. They believed he was pulling at loose threads on Steve's carefully built public image. That pressure seemed to explode when Steve finally addressed the situation. At first, he tried to frame it like he was joking. He said he regretted saying certain things. He suggested that Katt was speaking with confidence, but confidence did not automatically equal truth. On the surface, Steve wanted people to believe he was calm and mature. But the energy told a different story. Steve sounded exhausted. He talked about people attacking his wife. He talked about blogs dragging his family. He made it clear that Marjorie had been hurt by the online backlash. And that was the first major clue. Because Steve could have defended himself only. Instead, he kept circling back to Marjorie. That made fans wonder whether Katt had accidentally hit Steve's most sensitive nerve. Not his career, not his money, not even his legacy, his wife. The more Steve tried to dismiss Katt's words, the more people replayed the original interview. Katt had mocked Steve's rise, questioned the stories Steve told about his past, and made comments that fans interpreted as a direct attack on the marriage. To some viewers, it was messy. To others, it sounded like Katt knew exactly where to aim. And when a man with Steve's platform responds with anger after months of silence, people do not just hear the words, they hear the fear behind them. Why Marjorie became the center of the storm. At first, Marjorie Harvey was only a name floating around the edge of the drama. But once Katt's comments went viral, her name moved straight to the center. Suddenly, old rumors about Steve and Marjorie's marriage started coming back like they had never gone away. There had already been whispers online about alleged issues inside the marriage. Some rumors claimed there had been tension, others alleged infidelity. Steve and Marjorie publicly pushed back against those stories, and for a while, it seemed like the couple had survived the storm. But Katt's interview gave the internet a reason to revisit everything. And that is what made this different. Katt did not just talk like a comedian throwing random insults. He made the situation feel connected to a bigger pattern. He suggested that certain powerful men end up with a certain kind of carefully protected wife. A wife who rarely speaks publicly, and whose image is guarded like part of a business deal. Fans immediately connected that comment to Marjorie. Whether Katt meant it literally or not, the damage was already done. Viewers began asking why Marjorie had stayed so private in certain spaces. They started comparing Steve's public praise of Marjorie with things he had said about women in his past. They began looking at old timelines and wondering what had really happened before Steve and Marjorie became the power couple everyone recognized. This is where the Harvey brand became vulnerable. For years, Steve and Marjorie presented a glamorous blended family image: love, loyalty, success, fashion, charity, and transformation. It was clean, it was aspirational, it was marketable. But drama channels thrive on one thing: contradiction. And when Katt created a contradiction between the public image and the alleged private story, the audience could not look away. Suddenly, Marjorie was not just Steve's wife. She became the unanswered question, the past everyone started digging into. Once Marjorie's name became part of the conversation, people started digging into her past with new intensity. Old relationships, old interviews, and old claims were dragged back into the spotlight. And while not every rumor was proven, the conversation itself became impossible to ignore. Reports and online discussions pointed to Marjorie's previous marriages and relationships before Steve. Some people focused on the fact that she had been connected to men with serious legal trouble in the past. Others questioned how much of that history the public had forgotten once she became Mrs. Harvey. That is the key part of this story. It is not only about what happened years ago, it is about image control. When Steve married Marjorie, she became part of one of the most recognizable entertainment brands in America. The Harvey name carried television success, comedy history, best-selling advice books, family content, and corporate respectability. For Marjorie, that name also helped reshape her public identity. She was no longer introduced through her past. She was introduced as Steve Harvey's elegant wife, a fashion figure, a philanthropist, and the woman behind a picture-perfect family. But Katt's comments threatened to crack that image open, because when people start investigating one part of a celebrity's past, they rarely stop there. If they ask about the marriage, they ask about the timeline. If they ask about the timeline, they ask about the exes. If they ask about the exes, they start questioning the whole foundation. That is why some fans believe Marjorie allegedly reacted so strongly. Not because of one insult, not because of one viral joke, but because Katt may have reopened a door she spent years trying to close. And once that door opened, Steve's response started looking less like pride and more like damage control. Steve's ex-wife and the old wounds. The drama became even more complicated when Steve's past marriage entered the conversation. Katt's comments pushed people to revisit allegations made by Steve's ex-wife, Mary. For years, Mary had made claims about how her relationship with Steve ended, and those claims were painful, emotional, and damaging to the clean version of the Harvey story. Mary previously alleged that Steve moved on with Marjorie while their marriage was falling apart. She also claimed she was left struggling while Steve built his empire. Steve has denied wrongdoing in different ways and has pointed to court records and legal obligations, but the public still debated the emotional side of the story. That is what made Katt's mention so explosive. He did not need to prove every detail in a court of law. In the world of public opinion, all he had to do was remind people that another woman had once stood beside Steve before the fame reached its highest level. Once that happened, fans began asking uncomfortable questions. Who was really there during the struggle years? Who benefited after the success arrived? And did the official love story leave anyone behind? For Steve, those questions were dangerous because his brand was built on wisdom, loyalty, family values, and relationship advice. He was not just a comedian. He became a man people listened to about marriage, manhood, ambition, and faith. So when the public starts questioning his personal history, it can affect more than gossip. It can shake the authority behind the entire brand. That may explain why Steve's reaction felt so emotional. He was not just defending himself from a joke, he was defending decades of storytelling. And Katt, whether people love him or hate him, has always understood one thing better than most. Sometimes, the most powerful punchline is not the funniest one. It is the one that makes everybody ask, wait, what really happened? The alleged push to silence Katt. After Steve's heated response, rumors started spreading that the pushback against Katt was not only emotional, but strategic. According to online claims, Steve allegedly reached out through industry connections to make life harder for Katt professionally. Some people even claim the message was simple: if you support Katt, you risk losing access to Steve. Now, these claims remain allegations, but they fit the kind of power struggle fans love to analyze. Steve is not just a celebrity. He is connected to networks, producers, executives, major events, radio platforms, and business circles. If someone with that kind of reach wanted to apply pressure quietly, fans believe it could happen behind closed doors long before the public ever saw it. But the bigger twist was the rumor that Steve might not have been the main force behind it. Some insiders and commentators suggested Marjorie was allegedly pushing Steve to take a harder stance. They claimed she wanted Katt punished for bringing her name and her past into the conversation. That possibility changed the entire meaning of Steve's anger. If Steve was acting alone, then this was a wounded entertainer defending his reputation. But if Marjorie was allegedly pushing from behind the scenes, then this was something else. A family brand protecting itself from a comedian who refused to stay quiet. And that is where Katt becomes a very difficult opponent. He has built his modern reputation on saying the things other people avoid. He has been doubted, dismissed, mocked, and criticized for years. But every time people think he is finished, he comes back louder. Trying to silence someone like that can backfire, because if the public believes a powerful person is trying to shut someone up, the audience does not lose interest. They pay even closer attention. And that may be the Harvey family's biggest problem. The harder they push back, the more people wonder what Katt might say next. Marjorie's image, under pressure. Marjorie Harvey's public image has always been polished. The fashion, the luxury trips, the charity appearances, the blended family photos, the graceful smile beside Steve. Everything looked controlled, expensive, and intentional. For years, that image worked. But when scandal hits a polished image, the contrast becomes the story. The internet started comparing the elegant version of Marjorie with the rumors people were now discussing. They looked at the way she rarely gave deep interviews. They questioned why so much of her public presence seemed curated instead of open. They brought up past relationships, family history, old accusations, and the way the Harvey name helped reframe everything. To be clear, rumors are not facts. But in celebrity culture, perception can become its own kind of power. And right now, the perception spreading online is that Marjorie may have more influence over Steve than fans realized. That idea became even louder after people brought up past conversations where others allegedly suggested Steve was cautious around her. Some fans interpreted those stories as proof that Marjorie was the real force in the household. Others said it was just gossip being twisted for clicks. Either way, Katt's comments made people look at the marriage differently. Before this drama, Steve and Marjorie looked like a united power couple. After it, some viewers started seeing Steve as the public shield and Marjorie as the private strategist. That may or may not be true, but the idea is powerful because it gives the audience a hidden hand storyline. And hidden hand storylines are exactly what make viewers stay until the end. Now, every time Steve speaks, people ask whether those are his words or whether he is protecting someone else. Every time Marjorie stays silent, people ask whether silence is elegance or strategy. And every time Katt's name comes up, the same question returns. What does he know that made them react like this? Why Katt Williams is hard to break. The biggest mistake anyone can make with Katt Williams is assuming pressure will scare him into silence. Katt has already survived the kind of career storms that would have ended many entertainers. He has been criticized, sued, mocked, arrested, rejected by parts of the industry, and still somehow remain relevant. That is why fans believe Steve and Marjorie may be dealing with the wrong kind of opponent. Katt does not need the same approval Steve needs. Steve's brand depends on stability. He needs networks, sponsors, family-friendly trust, and mainstream respect. Katt's brand is different. His audience expects him to be raw, unpredictable, controversial, and fearless. So when people attack Katt, it can actually strengthen the exact image that keeps his fans loyal. That is the danger. If Steve responds angrily, Katt looks like he touched a nerve. If Marjorie stays silent, people think she is hiding. If industry people allegedly pressure venues or bookers, Katt's supporters call it proof that he is being blackballed. Every move against him can become fuel for his story, and Katt knows how to turn pressure into performance. He does not have to release a long statement. He does not have to file paperwork or sit through a polished interview. All he has to do is show up on a stage, look into a camera, and say one sentence that makes the internet explode again. That is why this feud is so dangerous for Steve. He may have more money. He may have more mainstream power. He may have a larger corporate machine. But Katt has something equally dangerous in this moment: public curiosity. And when the public believes someone is telling forbidden truths, even unproven claims can travel faster than official denials. The question that still won't go away. By now, the feud is bigger than one interview, one joke, or one angry response. It has become a full public debate about fame, marriage, image, and what celebrities do to protect the version of themselves they sell to the world. Steve Harvey wants people to believe Katt Williams lied. He wants fans to see the comments as jealousy, comedy, beef, and internet nonsense. And maybe Steve truly believes that. Maybe he feels Katt crossed a line by bringing his wife into a public conversation. Any husband would feel protective when strangers attack his family. But the problem is this: Steve's reaction did not make people stop talking. It made them talk more. Every emotional response gave fans another clip to analyze. Every mention of Marjorie brought the focus back to her. Every attempt to dismiss Katt made people replay Katt's words again. And every rumor about behind-the-scenes pressure made the audience wonder whether the Harvey brand was more fragile than it looked. That is why it ends at the most important question: what happens if Katt speaks again? Because if Katt decides to go deeper, this could move from comedy drama into a full-blown reputation crisis. He could bring up old timelines. He could revisit Steve's ex-wife. He could comment on Marjorie's past. He could challenge the perfect family image again. And whether those claims are fair or not, the internet would be ready to listen. Steve and Marjorie may want the story to disappear, but the public does not move on when it feels there is still something hidden. The more polished the image, the more people want to know what is behind it. And that is the real power of this feud. It is not just Katt versus Steve. It is not just jokes versus anger. It is a battle between a protected public image and a comedian who built his comeback on exposing what powerful people do not want discussed. Now the only question is whether Steve stays quiet or whether Katt forces him back into the fire. The lesson behind the fallout. The deeper this story goes, the clearer one thing becomes. This was never only about comedy. It was about power, reputation, timing, and the cost of building a perfect public image in an imperfect world. Katt Williams understood the internet better than most people expected. He did not need a courtroom. He did not need a documentary. He did not even need to sit down for hours explaining every detail. All he needed was a few sharp comments, delivered with confidence, aimed at the weakest part of Steve Harvey's brand, the gap between the polished image and the rumors people were already whispering about. Steve's strategy was completely different. Steve built his career on control. Control of the room, control of the microphone, control of the family image, control of the motivational message. For decades, he became more than a comedian. He became a trusted public figure, a host, a businessman, a relationship voice, and the face of a family brand that looks stable, wealthy, and protected. But the lesson here is simple. When your brand is built on trust, even rumors can become dangerous if people feel the reaction is stronger than the accusation. Steve may believe Katt crossed a line. Marjorie may feel unfairly dragged into a public battle she never asked for. And to be fair, no family should be treated like entertainment without facts, context, and humanity. Online drama can turn real people into characters, and that is where things become ugly fast. But celebrities also have to understand something. Silence, anger, and pressure can all send messages. Sometimes the best response is not to fight harder. Sometimes it is to stay calm, speak clearly, protect your family with dignity, and refuse to feed the storm. The real lesson is not that Katt won or Steve lost. The real lesson is that fame does not erase old stories. Money does not silence every question. And a powerful image can only survive if the people behind it are willing to face the truth with maturity. At the end of the day, peace is still more powerful than revenge. Families should be protected. Public conversations should be responsible. And fans should remember that behind every viral clip, there are real people dealing with real consequences. Now it is your turn. Do you think Katt Williams exposed something real? Or do you think this whole situation went too far? Comment 1 if you think Katt told the truth. Comment 2 if you think Steve and Marjorie deserve peace. And if you want more deep celebrity breakdowns like this, make sure you subscribe, like the video, and share it with someone who has been following this drama.